it's working. Right. Yes, last time I was fixing a few problems, things I'd noticed, and I've kind of noticed a few more, so I'm going to quickly fix them, and then we will kind of move on to abstracting the engine out. Because one thing I don't like is, as you can see in my main function, we have still like a show window, which is a window. Windows specific functions being called here, shouldn't be, and yeah, I just basically want the main to start the engine, and that'll be it. Right, so let's go through a few of the things I have noticed. Oh yeah, so this is one of them. So memory chunk is just kind of stuff I've noticed is when talking and like trying to explain things that I kind of make kind of silly mistakes, and this is kind of a silly C and C++ mistake. So because I'm passing in not a pointer or a reference, it gets copied in the function. So when I modify it, so when I destroy the memory, I'm actually not destroying the memory I want to destroy, I'm destroying a local copy of it. So this needs to pass in a pointer to a memory chunk. Just like it called in here, yeah. So yeah, as you can see, to do local copy, so let me delete that because I'm going to change that now. Let's just close these as we go. So where was it? Actually, fine, right. To do this is acting on a local variable. Yep. Yeah. So now it means, because we need to dereference the pointer first. Same here. Oh god, my typing is terrible today. Okay, that was one to do. Right, pump message, specific window, that's fine. Oh, that's where we changed that. Okay, here's another thing. So it just makes no sense to declare these before. You know, I might as well declare them after and use the types. That I defined here. So just delete all these lines. One thing as well that I'm unsure about is this unsigned int is probably only 32 bits, and so could overflow getting big, which wouldn't be good. So let's just change all these to be our biggest unsigned 64-bit integers, and then hopefully they won't overflow. Because what happens when you overflow a integer, it just wraps around to 0, so you can get quite silent bugs because it won't fail, but the value will end up being 0 when we don't want it to be. So firstly, let's check currently if this compiles. Okay, it's doing something. Let's have a quick t-rec. Why have I got Arena up? Oh yeah, I actually forgot to implement Arena Pop, because our Arena is almost like a stacked data frame where, not data frame, sorry, a stacked data structure where we can kind of just pop off the last thing we used. Because obviously the alignment, so you can see here that we align it, it's not as easy to kind of pop off multiple different things, especially if you're going to use them. So normally the way you use an arena is you kind of want to throw the entire arena away at once, but we're going to add an arena pop just in case we make any mistakes. to let me take the signature of this. Sorry, I know I use a lot of my mouse when I'm using Vim, but I'm still trying to get used to it. So we want to check if. So we want to check. So we're going to pop off bytes, right? That amount of bytes off the top of the arena. So we want to check if our bytes is it greater than. If it's greater than the offset, I suppose. I guess we want to do something like this. So if it is fine, we need to roll back the offset, right? Previously, I've been returning 0, but there is no return time, so it's a void pointer. So because we're gonna pop by F anyway, so let's just pop off that amount, right? So we're going to say, oh, let's pop off that many bytes, but we don't have that many bytes, so let's just pop off all of the bytes that are left. And then I guess actually you just want to make this a 0, right? That makes sense. Okay. Okay, so what we want to do now is take our kind of engine layer. So I think we spoke before in the final episode that our engine is going to hold our renderer. So it's going to have some sort of render API. We're either using OpenGL, Vulkan, etc. And it's going to hold our platform API. In this case, we're doing the Win32 there, right? So I don't even want to do this here. So I don't even want to assign the memory. So I want to go to our engine header. You can see at the moment our engine holds a pointer to our window and the platform API to kind of deal with that window, right? But I guess we can check. We can add a few new things. So firstly, we probably want some check for is our engine running firstly. I guess we can hold arena, so we can add multiple arenas. So I think normally the way you have is an arena for different, let's say we have an arena for our permanent memory, and let's say arena for, I don't know, assets. So yeah, this kind of looks fine for now. What engine needs to be, so we just have a check if it's running. a pointer to a platform window, a pointer to the platform API, so that's how kind of to deal with this platform window, etc. And some arenas. Now, one thing I don't know is should this, so this arena is a struct, right, that contains a pointer to the beginning of our arena. So we kind of don't necessarily need this to be a pointer to an arena, because then it's just going to be a pointer to a structure that contains a pointer. So I feel like just packing the entire arena here seems fine, because this isn't the actual memory. This just contains pointers to the memory. So I think just packing them in like this seems fine. Okay, so we have yeah, see, this is kind of what I had before. So what else do we need our engine to do? So we init the engine, fine. How have I done? I just want to be consistent. Okay, so you initialize the engine, so we're basically, it'd probably help if I come up the actual implementation of that. Okay, so we're given a pointer to an arena, which we don't necessarily need because, no, it's fine, because that arena exists at the top level. Don't like how that's implemented right now. But anyway, let's get back to what we actually kind of need in there. So we might want like a restart the engine. So maybe that could be like freeing up all our arena memory, or just reloading an API. I think for now we will pass our engine. Well, actually, I don't know necessarily, because it doesn't need, if it returns an engine, then we really don't need to. Okay, so this, sorry, I'm jumping a little bit ahead here, but I think what I want to do, because I don't want to be passing this engine pointer around, so I wonder if I can lock the engine to this translation unit. So I could maybe do like static, so like global. So I can have like static engine, global engine. I wonder why this is going to show diagnostics. Oh, I guess you can't have static full types, I suppose. Maybe. Okay, it can for a pointer, because. Okay, that makes sense. And I guess then what I could do is just reference this in the initting of the engine. I can override this static memory with my engine that I pass in here, or that I create here. Anyway, just currently an idea. We'll work with it as we go. Okay, and then, well, we have an init engine, so like I said, we're gonna keep passing the engine in for now. I think this probably just can be a void though. Oh. Like I think currently, because it's just going to restart the engine, that this function gets passed, right? So initialize the engine. So we could, in theory, I think we could, in theory, actually just pass it in. Right, let's do it like this. We'll worry about the arena later. And then here, the thing is, I don't know if I necessarily want to pass void anyway. Part of me wants to pass codes, like if it's failed, like pass different value, but we can change that later. For now, let's just get it working. So then this is going to pass in. We have a engine pointer. Right, let's delete this arena. Okay. I don't even know if you need the platform API, because you could, in here, okay, so we have our platform API, right, but then we had game engine, right, and then we have our zero initialized structure of our engine. We have our game memory. In fact, let's just start now with this. So we have memory chunk, game, memory. No, because that calls the specific platform API. Right, that calls the specific platform API. So this should be really should be created in the engine. Should be creating this, because main memory shouldn't be just directly calling platform API. Engine should be. This seems a bit weak, because what could happen is the order in which we define them. So if we change them, we're going to screw this up. So what we're going to do here is 0 initialize our platform API. And then here is going to be platform API dot create window is going to be right. So this is our bootstrap now. We're going to just directly straight overwrite them. And then there's no ambiguity of what's happening. We know what function is being overwritten by what function point is being overwritten by what function, right? destroy memory. Okay, if I could spell, that'd be good. Okay, so create our game engine structure, starts in main, platform API. Right, so first things first, when we initialize it, we want to create the memory. Let's just deal with that. Okay, so oh wait, let's go back to this. Let's just so we can say game engine dot platform API. Oh, it probably needs. Does it need platform API is pointed to. Fine. Oh, also. So now our game engine platform API variable, member variable, kind of points to the memory of this platform API. Fine. Okay. So, and the reason I did that is because now I don't have to actually pass this. The pointer for that is contained in this engine here that we're passing. Right. So engine dot platform window, and this is now a pointer. So our engine contains a platform window. No, sorry, we're creating the platform window. This seems a bit confusing. That confused me a little bit. So let's have our platform window. Platform API, which it isn't, right? It's engine dot platform API. Annoyingly though, I just realised that so the engine is pretty dysfunction, sure. Delete this. So our engine platform window now contains this window here. But this create window has been the memory of this window. Sorry. So this pointer address is meant to be heap allocated into our arena. Well, our arena is heap allocated, and the window is going to live on the arena, and that is a pointer to the arena, which we store in our engine. However, we now don't have an arena, right? Because at least so yeah, so in here we want to create a memory chunk, right? Engine probably go init memory, right? So we're going to say engine platform API init memory. And what that is going to do because this is not right. So because this is locally stored in this function. Anyway, I'll change that in a second. Right, so engine, so our engine platform API init memory, and we are gonna initialize like 2 gigabytes, right? Calling the function with incomplete return type memory chunk. Init memory. So this should. So what I want to do is just heap allocate all our memory, and that's what that does, right? So if I go tab new window to platform, init memory, right? So takes in a size T. But they're not size T anyway. I guess it's a right. We can take in a U64, right, and then what engine.h takes in the platform, but it actually doesn't include util.h memory chunk engine platform API init memory. Right, so that knows what it is. Okay, sorry. Show does it calling function with incomplete return type. How is incomplete type? come back to that in a second. Well, we also want, like we had in main, we want a arena. Okay, so we have, I wish I would stop looking for memory now. Oh wait, so no wait, I want this, fine, this defined in our engine. Oh. Because our engine contains now our permanent arena, right? And this is where we want to store our memory. So this is where we want to call a init arena on. Right, so we want to initialize the memory in our engine. So let's get our arena. And as you can see, we initialize the arena by passing in an arena and how big we want it to be. Okay, so this is actually the heap memory. So the engine does need to cool this. So I guess our engine needs to actually also have a memory chunk. Has an incomplete time memory chunk. Oh, I know why. Because platform.h doesn't actually define memory chunk, but it probably should, because it's not Windows specific. So, okay, this makes more sense. Okay, so where did I actually define it? Here, but it doesn't need to be defined in here because it's not platform. Specific, right? Okay. Kind of begs the question then, what do I do with it in here? Because init memory returns memory chunk. Do I define it in both places? does this include platform.h? At least now knows about the platform API, which maybe it shouldn't do. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So the initializer in the arena needs to get past the arena and the beginning and the size, right? So here we've created 2 gigabytes worth of memory, right? In fact, let's just say engine dot engine memory, and that's because this probably returns some memory. Oh, no. There it is. Engine memory. Okay, so then what we want to do is we want to initialize our arenas, right? So here we initialize our arena by taking the engine memory and where it begins, etc. What are they called? So permanent assets. So and then let's just drink this. Right, it's going to be the beginning, and right, this is getting a little bit confusing again. So let's do this again. So I'm going to say memory chunk is equal to engine memory. Fine. And then engine memory is equal to, okay, terrible names, my bad. Right. It says it doesn't exist. It does. Okay. How the hell do you stop at highlighting memory? Like, what? Why does it not highlight? Stop highlighting. Tell me the ways. Really? Fine. It worked. Okay. So initializing our engine. So from the scope above, we've been passed in our engine structure, a pointer to a structure, and then and we've got to fill it out with a few things. Right, first we want to initialize the memory. So if we go out to init memory, we call virtual alloc. So we are just returning a structure that contains a pointer to the beginning of our heap allocated memory and our size. Fine, so let's store that in our engine. Right, so we are going to create our engine's memory by calling our platform API and initializing the memory. We then have our pointer to our engine, and we are going to copy this engine memory into it, right? Because it's a memory chunk, it's not a pointer, it's an actual memory chunk. This says it doesn't exist. Maybe because I hadn't written it. Yep, apparently so. Okay, so now we have our full memory, and we want to divide that up for our arenas, right? Okay. So we have 2 arenas now, just because I wanted to try and prove that I think we can divide it up properly. That's arena. That's our engine and assets, right? Let's prefix it with arena. Right, so arena permanent. So this is where it gets a little bit confusing. So arena permanent, arena assets. What are you on about? This is how much we're allocating. So this is the size. So this is also going to do half the size. It's actually going to start well, I guess we want to add the we we want to move the pointer by this many bytes, right? I think that works. Seems a bit mad. No matching to init arena. Yeah, that makes sense because I don't know if engine knows about our arenas yet, but it probably should. Oh, why have I got a P? So confused them. Right. Go init engine. Sorry. I will learn one day to always go backwards instead of just cycling through. Okay, to init our engine, to pass in our empty engine struct, and we initialize. We get some 2 gigabytes worth of heat memory. We then initialize our arenas, our arena permanent. Because that's, we want to pass in the actual address. And that's why it's having trouble. I wonder what happened to it. So this needs to actually pass in the actual memory address of our arena in the engine thing. Otherwise, we're just going to have to be modifying a local copy of it. Okay, so I said also that this is being created, so that is because this should probably go for here, class name, right? So what we actually want to do is go engine, actually I haven't even created that window yet, right? Here's a pointer to the window. Do I care about? I'm going to remove it into here for now. Now what you show diagnostic, redefinition of class name. But now there isn't. There's no such thing as a class anymore. We want to remove it from here. And then arena perm doesn't actually exist. Yeah, which we're going to pass in a pointer to an arena. Yep. So it is going to be engine engine platform window is equal to this window that gets created. This was a pointer to a platform window. I think the window's still created those. I think we're fine at the moment. Right, let's go to this. Get rid of. Okay, so now we just init the engine. And we don't pass in anything other than the actual game engine. Okay, so I Win30 create window, now the signature's wrong. So I need to go back here. Right. Main CPC engine, yeah, right, so the engine doesn't exist. First it's called game engine, the scope. Right, so this is just our debug stuff. Main 27 engine undeclared variable. So it looks to be doing okay. What if I can just type? So one thing I'm a little bit confused about is why there's H. That's a bit interesting, isn't it? Seems to be like the first. Right, let's go back to getting started with the window. Here it ends up being a LPZ classic is classic. What, this doesn't seem right. It says H though, doesn't it? Faster. Oh, probably have like bought it first. Oh, brilliant. Anyway, what we're going to do is continue to build up this engine there. But I think for now, it's a good place to stop. Cool. Thank you very much.